I'm making this video to show how you can be fooled with a false reading on your electrical when you're diagnosing an appliance. It does happen. It's not a very common situation. It's more common to find a miswired receptacle than to run into this type of problem. I actually tore into this dryer. I was getting false readings. It had me fooled in the beginning. I actually ordered a brand new motor for the dryer because I had voltage readings to the motor and it wasn't turning on. In any case, check out this video. You will notice in the electrical panel in the video that there are no wires hooked up to the 30 amp breaker. And that's because I disconnected them, and it was part of my diagnostic procedure. I just disconnected those wires and ran a wire right from the dryer in front of the panel to check a few things out. So I did hook the two leads up that were hooked up to that 30 amp breaker. I hooked them back up along with the green wire. All three of those wires came from the same place through the conduit to the panel from the dryer. I actually went as far as taking and bringing another dryer into this area and hooking it up. It was a loaner dryer that I had, a used dryer that worked in another customer's home. I hooked that up and I had the same issue. That led me to believe that there was a deeper issue and that I really needed to dig deeper into this situation. All right, I've tried to explain to people in the past the difference between a neutral and a ground, and a lot of people think it's the same thing because they can go to the same place in a panel. In any case, normally you should have 220, 240 volts, something like that across these two terminals, and this is your neutral. It's definitely a neutral, not a ground, because the motor in a dryer uses 120, so it's going to use a wire from that leg and the neutral to make 120. The heating element's going to use these two for its 220 or 240. Okay, so this dryer was not turning on. I tested my voltage. I had 240 across here. I had 120. I had 120 on both legs. So naturally you think something's wrong with the dryer. Never in a million years would you think that you would go over to the panel and find that you've got your hot legs coming off the 30 amp breaker, which is perfect, you know, and then you got the green wire coming out of here going to this ground bar. The problem is this ground bar does not have a neutral wire going to it. Right there is your neutral coming in off the pole. That neutral makes this a neutral bar. This ground bar, even though it's screwed to this panel, is not connected to that neutral bar, thus not supplying a good return for the 120 volts. This could fool a lot of people and stump a lot of people, and it had me going for a while. I went crazy tearing into that dryer, trying to figure out what was going on. And now I need to take and disconnect the green wire from this ground bar because it is not a ground, it is a neutral, and I need to connect it to that neutral bar up there, and we are going to have a running dryer. All right, I got it all hooked up. Let's see what happens here. Oh, wait. There we go. We are done here. Unbelievable. Just to clarify, some breaker panels and sub panels only have one ground or neutral bar in them. They don't have a mechanical ground strip and a separate neutral bar. They just use one. So you can run your copper grounds and your neutrals to the same place. You have no choice in that type of situation. A lot of newer electronics and more modern type electronics, high-end appliances like Bosch, they rely on insulated neutrals and polarity to be correct and stuff like that. So that does get a little technical. I'll get into that on more videos to come, but it's always important to know your wiring. And as you can see in this last situation, it could waste a lot of time. This was a freak situation. It's something that doesn't happen often, although I do run into lots of situations where dryer outlets and range outlets are miswired right out of the box, so to speak. The electricians in new construction, they wire your outlets backwards, or they'll hook a lead a power lead to ground and neutral to a power lead, or vice versa. And we go out to diagnose appliances all the time, and we find out the first thing we want to do right out of the gate is pull the thing forward and check our voltages at the receptacle to make sure it's all proper. And again, in this case, that wouldn't have done you much good because you were getting a false reading. Anyway, have a good one. Thank you for watching.